going on, Jerome's? It's a beautiful Monday. Sun still came out. Birds are chirping and shit. And even though our football team is allegedly 1-4, again, it'd almost be better just to get your ass whooped, like the Patriots did, or like the Giants did, or like the Cowboys got their asses kicked by the Niners, because then then you know that some tough decisions have to be made. But the Vikings, frustratingly, all four of their losses have been by a single score, and all four of them were very winnable games, and the Vikings just made mistakes, notably turfing the ball, notably dropping passes and all that stuff, and it's frustrating, especially since 3 out of the 4 losses were against Tier 1 quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, and Patrick Mahomes. And, frankly, at times... well, except for the Herbert game. Frankly, at times the Vikings had Mahomes and Hurts in jail, but sort of is what it is. And we generally skew positive on things. And after every single loss or after every single negative thing that goes against the team, we aren't like, oh, fire everyone, trade everyone, tank, and all that stuff, right? But we do like to play devil's avocado. At times. And I know we'll already get some comments in the comment section. Like, oh, how can you possibly think that? Well, literally just getting clicks. That's what we're doing. Now, I do not think that the Wilfs would consider firing Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, the general manager, or head coach Kevin O'Connell. I don't think that they would do that after 2 years, and I don't think that they would do that after a 13-4 division winning season last year. I just don't think that's in the Wilfs' DNA. And also, if they fired Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell, they'd have to pay out their contracts. They're still paying Spielman and Zimmer for another year, and then they'd have to pay a new GM and a new head coach and likely a new staff. And so it ain't going to happen. It is not going to happen. Like, no matter how poorly the rest of the season goes, I don't think that it'll happen. And, with O'Connell, I understand it's frustrating where, some of the stuff where it does come down to coaching, whether it's bad challenges or game management or timeouts or, not having his team prepared. Because, at times it's so mad. You could say like, well, Kirk Cousins should know this and Kirk Cousins should know that and the players should know that. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's the coaches that get the players ready to play and gets them organized and gets them ready for situational football. And it just seems like the Vikings, they've been dumb. They've been very stupid in situational football at times this year, and it really hurts to say, but that is the truth, right? And with Kwesi, a lot of people harp on the 2022 class with Lewis Cine. Could have had Jordan Davis. Could have had the Ravens safety. Could have had Andrew Booth Jr. Taken the second round after you trade up for him. Ed Ingram has been hot and cold, so whatever. And that's fair. That is fair. But I think the Vikings, I think ownership understood that it was going to be a competitive rebuild. Now, last year was a lot more competitive than this year. But the Vikings, a lot of things went their way. 11-0 in one-score games last year, 0-4 in one-score games this year. And it's just extremely frustrating. Although the double standard is there, you'll notice. Like when the Vikings were winning single-score games, it wasn't skill, it was all luck. But when the Vikings are losing these single-score games, it's not luck. It's just that the Vikings are a terrible football team. It's funny how that works out, how the thumb is always down on the scale like that. But I don't think that the Wilfs would move on, absent like a complete clown show 1-16 collapse, although that's not in the offing. But I do think that they would enter year 3 on some shaky footing, especially general manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, because, you look, 2022 draft, whatever. 2023 draft, Addison is looking good, yes, and some other projects mixed in there. Also, he should and could get credit for Ivan Pace Jr., signed up as a UDFA, but the rest of them, like Oliver is a great signing as a blocker, but he had that big-time fumble. Byron Murphy Jr. has been the Hawkinson extension. Like, Hawk is still one of the best tight ends in the game, but he's had 3 very terrible games the last 3 weeks in a row, which has not been good. And I don't know. Like, I think it could be a spot where Kwesi enters next year on the hot seat, and by ipso facto, Kevin O'Connell would as well, because a new general manager, they generally like bringing in their own coach. but it also could be a spot where, say, Kwesi gets fired after year 3, new GM comes in for year 4. He keeps O'Connell around as a lame duck, and because you'll see new GMs do this, they'll hang on to the old coach, and if things don't go well the first year, they can just be like, "Oh, I haven't picked my own coach, so we'll just fire the existing coach and move on from there." It's like it's a way of buying time. It's very common for GMs, but I don't know. Things got to change. Where under Zimmer, like things did get stale, and Eric Kendricks talked about fear-driven organization. No one's giving Brian O'Neill a high five in the hallway, and the message needed to be switched up. But it did just seem like the Vikings, especially the early years under Zimmer, the 2017, 18 Vikings, like they were mentally tougher. And I don't know what it is. And I do like the modern culture that Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell are building in that building. But I don't know. It just seems like maybe the Ted Lasso way ain't the way to go. Although we believe, man. All right. But I understand it's probably just Monday morning quarterbacking and being bummed that my team is 1-4 and all 4 losses were single score, and they could have easily beat the Bucks. They could have easily beat the Eagles. They should have beat the Chiefs, and they should have beat the Chargers, but woulda, coulda, shoulda, still 1-4. All right, and it's rough, and the team plays dumb and situational football. The team sometimes comes out flat. I mean, what the hell is this team even coming into the first quarter? Like, how do you have 3 total points in 5 games in the first quarter? How do you just not show up in the third quarter in all these games? So that speaks to preparedness going into the game, and that speaks to halftime adjustments, and that, I'm sorry, that all falls squarely on head coach Kevin O'Connell. All right, so we'll see. Like, I still think that he's growing into the job, but he's got to get his ish together quick, man. Got to get things going. But your thoughts are thoughts. Are Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah on the hot seat? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skull Production Value.